Welcome to Hey That's Me, a commentary podcast. I'm Patrick Connor.
Who gives a shit who I am?
Wow. I do.
I'm Brian Lynch, but the reason I'm saying that is because Patrick went and recorded another episode without me.
I'm sorry. You got pulled into a recording. You couldn't be there.
I know.
It was very sad.
It is pretty sad, but you know what? Like, I'm sure you did a great job without me.
I think this one's very interesting. I think this is a good one. We've got Jim Piddock today, and we're doing Mascots, the Christopher Guest movie that Jim stars in, wrote, and produced with Christopher Guest. It's a really fun movie. I hadn't seen it since it came out, and I really enjoyed a lot of it this time. And there's so many good people. You have the Guest gang, coming back for what seems to be one last ride. I don't think they're going to do another one, it seems like. But,
really?
That seems to be Jim's thought on this.
Is there a reason why
I think they're all just, they're all getting older, and you lose Fred Willard, you start losing people that it becomes harder to get the whole gang back together,
Look, Fred Willard was super important to these, but they added, in this one, they added Zach to it, and he's so funny in it. I think, God, they got to keep him going. Give me his email. I'm going to talk to him.
I would love it if they kept going. I would love it if they did more. But this was also the first film since For Your Consideration. So it had been 10 years.
Right.
Since they had done one. They did Family Tree, which was a show that Jim co-created with Christopher Guest on HBO with Chris O'Dowd and McKean and so many other people. But they hadn't done a film in a long time. So this one coming back, it's really fun to see everyone together again and having so much fun. Parker Posey's so funny in it. It's on Netflix if you haven't seen it. And this is a show where we do audio commentaries on movies and TV shows with people who never got to do them. And this was one because it came out on streaming. There's no physical release for this movie. No one really had a chance to do bonus feature behind the scenes stuff. The only interviews they'd really done was together was for the film festival when it premiered. I think it was Toronto it premiered at. So only a few of them went to Toronto to talk about it. And that was kind of it.
During this commentary, does he ask where I am?
No.
Okay. Cool. It's great.
So anyways, pull this up on Netflix.
Fine with it.
And we're going to count down from 3, and then we'll say go, and you can press play when we say go, or you could just listen to it like a podcast, because it's an interesting discussion about the movie and how to make an improvised movie and how, his career has progressed over the years. He also has a great book that's out. Jim also has a great book. Jim also has a great memoir called Caught with My Pants Down. And it's about his time in Hollywood and his career and all that stuff. And we talk about some other things that he's worked on. I, of course, get my obligatory Lost questions in there. We went to his house, which was very fun. Stephen, who recorded this, and I went to his house in the hills overlooking Hollywood, and we recorded in his office. It was really cool.
Sounds so fun.
I'm sorry you missed it, Brian.
Yep.
You have too many jobs. That's the problem.
I do.
That's the issue here.
Yeah.
Anyways, pull it up on Netflix if you want to watch along. And here we go. We're going to count down, Brian. You ready?
I guess.
I bet you're going to say with the same enthusiasm you do every week.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right. We're here with Jim Piddock, and we're watching Mascots. Jim, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. It's just starting. Look at this.
And look at this.
Netflix original film. And it was a Netflix original film. They didn't acquire it from anybody.
When was the last time you watched this?
Probably shortly after we finished editing it.
How did it come about? Because this was the first Netflix movie for Christopher.
Yeah. We had Chris and I did a series. And oh gosh, it's so strange seeing it again. We did a series called Family Tree for HBO, and Netflix had wanted that series, and we ended up going with HBO. And Chris and I, had always been fascinated by sports mascots. Yeah, it always amused us, and I wanted to do a documentary about football mascots in England, i.e. soccer mascots, and Chris was going to executive produce it, and I was going to just go around interviewing these mascots. Sure. And then I realized that making documentaries doesn't pay very much. And so I said to Chris, why don't we just do a fictitious version? Yeah. And try and make it sort of in the structure of Best in Show. And so that's how it came about. And so...
was he hesitant to do that at all? Because it had been a minute since Mighty Wind would have been the last one, right?
I think after... no, it was a Field Consideration.
But that wasn't totally the same setup.
No.
It felt different.
Field Consideration was the film that didn't do... It didn't critically do as well as the others and didn't get the kind of numbers. And I think he'd taken hiatus for... God, it must have been almost 10 years before we did Family Tree, and that was Chris's idea. He came to me with that and said, "Look, what do you think about doing a film about ancestry?" And I said, "I think it's a great idea, but the nature of a tree is that it branches out, so it's got to be episodic. So I think it's a TV show. So that's why I ended up there."
Okay.
And then this was sort of a return. I think by this stage he was sort of... I had to drag him back to the keyboard, or what we do is we just sit around and talk for 4 to 6 months, and then I have piles and piles and piles of notes, and have to go away and make sense of it.
Yeah.
So actually, this film was written in this room.
Oh wow!
I'm sitting in the chair and at the desk where it was written.
That's amazing.
And then I go back to Chris and say, "Look, it took me probably 3 or 4 weeks to make sense of it and write the whole thing out."
Of course.
And then we played around with it, and that was it. That was how it worked.
When you're breaking down the story like that, you're giving them all a lot of details. I've heard you talk about everyone has a character biography. Everyone has, you know, what their pets' names were, what their school was, all that stuff. Yeah. How much is there any wiggle room with them once you cast the actors to be like, this is what we're thinking, but if you want to change things, you can? Or
absolutely, I think you can change things in terms of adding to your character.
Yeah,
I think you can't go too far, because if you go off the rails, it screws everybody else up.
Sure.
Certainly, story-wise, you can't.
Okay.
You can in terms of the character and how he looks and what dresses and all that. That's totally up to the actor. And that's the fun part of it. Here's Michael Hitchcock here. He's always brilliant.
One of the best, yeah.
And this is South Croydon, London. Look, that actually looks very like my flat that I have in London. And this is Tom Bennett with Kerry Godliman. Kerry and I, bizarrely, just the way the schedule worked, were on the film longer than anybody else. I think you don't work a lot of days on a Christopher Guest film because it's not a long shoot and you're improvising a lot of stuff. But Kerry and I think, were on it for the longest amount.
Interesting.
We were on it pretty much the whole shoot.
Wow.
Our scene, just the way the schedule worked out. And Tom, I've obviously worked with on Family Tree. He's so good.
He's so funny. And you guys do look similar.
We do, actually, yeah.
When did you notice that?
Well, I think it was partly we cheated. I said, look, we got to do something. And so we did the center hair part. But yeah, we have that sort of slightly doughy English thing. I was spilling my drink. That's a drinking problem.
No one can see. It's okay. This is audio only.
Tea all down my front. That's the beauty. Oh, it would have been better actually on video. Cause you got to laugh in person. And here's the football sequence. I love this. This was a little indulgence for me because we had the soccer sequence in Croydon, and all the players had numbers. There's a picture of me looking awful, and all the players' names were old Crystal Palace players.
Oh, that's amazing.
Some of whom are friends of mine from the team I support in the Premier League, and so they all had that. My favourite players across the last 50 years were all.
That's great. Did you film it all here?
We filmed it all here, yes.
Yeah.
We did. That so-called soccer field in South London was somewhere in Long Beach. I think.
Great.
But there were exteriors obviously done in London. Yeah.
When you're writing it and writing the characters, do you have people in mind, or are you like, this is a Hitchcock character, this is a know?
Absolutely. Yeah. We kind of, it's slightly organic as we go. We kind of sometimes start with the actor and go, oh, what are we going to have them? And but in this case, I think we decided what the main contestants were, and then we had to adjust that to who we had. And obviously because the Chris Guest troupe by that stage was getting quite ancient,
Sure.
I was the baby almost. We had to bring in some new blood because you can't have 70-year-old mascots.
Sure.
prancing around. So,
but I think that's what's nice about this movie is it does feel like a little bit of a not a passing the torch, but like
absolutely.
You're getting the new blood in, you're getting new voices, while still keeping Fred Willard and and everyone else.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, here Parker Posey is one of them. She was young enough. Chris Moynihan was young enough.
Yeah.
Tom was young enough. I had to play the ex because and so we brought in new blood, which was kind of really good in a way. I think Zach Woods, Sarah Baker, Susan Yeagley, who I knew actually before through Kevin Nealon. And I actually knew her socially, and I spent quite a bit of time with Susan, so it was delightful to bring her in. So yeah, it was kind of really good to actually, and Chris O'Dowd, obviously here we have Chris O'Dowd coming in. We'd worked with on Family Tree.
Yeah.
So it was, if you're young enough, you're a mascot, and if you're not, you're somebody else. I was an ex-mascot because of that, and Fred Willard had to be,
manager,
an ancient mariner.
Yes. Yes. He's very funny in this. I mean, we could talk about him more when he gets in, but.
Well, him and Brad Williams, that scene that comes up later.
Yeah, it's so funny.
It's brilliant. I mean, you put Fred in any inappropriate situation, and he's funny.
He's going to know what to do.
And with a dwarf, or I think you can't say that anymore.
Little person, I believe.
God. You know what? That's the only thing I'm not liberal about. It's fair. Just don't take away my pronouns and my ability to use words. So Brad was a new audition and it was fun actually finding new people.
Yeah,
it was really good because it did feel like otherwise it was going to be a movie like Cocoon, and we were all 6,000 years old. Was it auditions or was it just people that you guys? No, Chris never auditions. Never auditions. He either just offers. I found some people. There's a lot of people in Family Tree and in Mascots that I knew of, and he didn't, and so I sort of introduced him. And some cases he would meet them and just talk with them and go. He says he instinctively knows whether they can do it or not. And my introduction with them, Best in Show, is I just had a meeting with him and Eugene, and they're both, how shall I put this, socially uncomfortable. And I nearly used another inappropriate word. And so I just babbled for, and then I realized I've got to stop. And so I said, look, here's a tape of my work, guys. And I knew Eugene quite well socially, and he knew some of my work. And so I left and thought, oh God, how could I have handled that better? And anyway. I mean, what is improv if not babbling? Yeah, but it wasn't particularly good or funny. It was just me filling out awkward silences. But I've heard you talk about, that was like your first time doing improv outside of school? Yeah, outside drama school, I think, yeah. So it's got to be scary. To throw you in with Fred Willard is like throwing you in on the deep end of the pool. Yeah, but on the other hand, actually, for a lot of people, they didn't want to do it with Fred because they go, oh, wait a minute, no, he's going to suck all the laughs out of the scene. Yeah. So it was like nobody wanted to play with Fred. So they had to find some sucker very funny who would come in. And I had never played a straight man before. I'd always been the clown, in any kind of comic duo. So it was great for me because I learned how to be more subtle and not fight. And you can't compete with that. There's no point. So you can actually, I figured out if I was clever enough, I could get laughs just by reacting. And if you've been around comedy long enough, you know that the reaction is often funnier than the action. Of course, if you time it right. So I let Fred carry the heavy lifting, do all the heavy lifting, and I just kind of snuck in there. Did you know that going in, or did that change? I didn't really, but because he kind of caught me slightly off guard. I was shooting in England at the time, so I had to come over to Canada for just a week, and so it was all kind of kind of hit me. Oh, here's these people. There's Maria Blusucci coming in. Amazing. Who I knew Dick, her Blusucci, her dad, for years. And I think I must have met Maria when she was a baby. Of course. And now she was brilliant. Here she is with Higgins. And Higgins is great as as always the clown. I mean, he's a man who doesn't even have to say anything and is funny. Like this movie is full of those people. Exactly. Him, Hitchcock, Willard, like there's so many people where you're just like,
you could just sit there and I would start laughing.
Absolutely. And she's brilliant at doing the
great.
straight face kind of thing that I did in Best in Show. And just the kind of the very low key, but very, very funny. I thought she was wonderful.
She's in a all-female comedian basketball team called the Pistol Shrimps.
Wow.
There's a documentary about them. I don't know if you can watch it anymore, but it was on this website called CISO for a while, and it's very funny, and people should check it out if they can find it.
Fantastic. I haven't really sort of seen her since we did this.
She's around. She's great.
Yeah.
Do you have any John Michael Higgins stories? He's one of my guys. You know, like he's a guy I love watching.
Yeah. I mean, what is so great about him is he's a genuine character actor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can be so different in so many ways.
Yeah.
And always funny. And he's incredibly inventive. Some of his lines, and over the course of all the Chris Guest movies are just absolute classics.
Yeah.
I mean, in Mighty Wind, that line he had about, I suffered as a child from abuse of a musical nature. It's a great, very clever line.
Yeah.
I think he and Jennifer Coolidge probably. Oh, this was the commercial, wasn't it?
The
commercial.
Ryan Gall and Susie Barrett right here.
Wow.
Two great improvisers.
Fantastic. Yeah. I mean, we sort of love the idea of bad ads.
Yeah. The set is so funny. Like everything about that is funny.
It's great, isn't it? It's great. I mean, it's like in Family Tree, we like the idea of bad 70s sitcoms and we recreated them.
It's great.
It's really fun to do that.
Where is the stadium that they're in, or the arena, I should say?
Here?
Yeah,
I think it was a set.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a big set.
It was a set. Yeah, it was. I'm 99% sure.
Good job to the set designer, because I thought it was a real thing.
When we get to it, I'll remember, because I just always forget once things done. Of course. Dear Matt Greaser was so great in this as Chris's sort of sidekick. And sadly, he, like Fred Willard, has now passed away.
Oh, I didn't realize that. He's great in this.
He's great. He's really... Matt was such a lovely guy, but and passed away very young.
His hair is amazing. The gloves, it's the little details that make this movie. Yeah,
absolutely. Look at that. It's the worst. The mullet thing. Oh, fantastic.
How was Netflix to work with?
They were brilliant.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant.
Did they leave you alone, or did they let you?
Totally left us alone.
Look who it is. Guess who's coming?
Oh, his Kerry Godliman, dear Kerry, and there I am. I think I ate an enormous amount in this scene and felt quite sick afterwards. And now you don't even see it.
This is the convention center, right?
Yes, I think no.
So.
Where was this? Where was this now?
I think it's
I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
What was I just watching? Paradise on Hulu.
Oh,
they shoot a lot here. Almost this exact same setup right here.
They're the nipple ring.
Yes.
Oh my god! And I used the word flange. I wanted to get that in somewhere. It's just long.
Was the nipple ring comfortable?
Yeah, it was fine. It was just a clip-on thing. It just is a little throwaway thing.
Yeah.
God, that hair was so awful. Just so awful. And the clothes.
Yeah.
So clothes.
And you're basically in something similar the whole time in the movie. It's very similar.
Appalling
clothes.
Sense of dress. Just the cheapest, worst, clothes you could get. Oh, look at those. Sarah's so great. These two are brilliant together.
Yeah, when Zach and Sarah come in, or people like Zach and Sarah, it's new people.
Yeah.
What do you tell them to get them ready for it, like before?
I think it's on the page what the dynamic is, and they just absolutely seized it and ran with it. They were so great together. The reactions of each one when the other's talking.
Yes.
That that this is a marriage in severe trouble, but they're just somehow keeping it together.
I wonder if they knew each other beforehand.
I don't know. I don't
know. They're sort of different circles.
Yeah, my memory is that they didn't, but I could be wrong on that.
Yeah.
Given that I can't remember if we shot in an actual stadium or it was a set. I wouldn't trust anything I say. I'm just probably making everything that could be made up.
This will be the first for an episode for us.
I did that for someone's wedding once. They wanted me to speak. I wasn't the best man because he had like about 5 people speak, and I did an entire speech that was literally not him.
That's amazing.
And I made the whole thing. The whole thing was completely fictitious. How we met.
Oh, that's so funny.
And people loved it. I thought this is either going to die an absolute death.
100%. It's a big swing.
Yeah, it was a hell of a risk.
We just saw Tim Baltz, who's on the Righteous Gemstones.
Oh yeah,
great on the Righteous Gemstones. He was just the ticket agent there.
Yeah. I'm really, again, I can't remember my own family's names.
Yeah.
So it's great for you that you know all the names of the people who popped in.
Yes.
And also, I often wasn't there.
Oh, sure.
So I never even sort of, and I wasn't involved in the casting of all those smaller roles. So,
would you go to set when you weren't shooting?
Yes, sometimes I would.
Yeah.
And as I say, the schedule had me there a lot anyway.
Yeah.
But when you're not actually shooting, if it's not about me,
sure.
Do I give a shit? No, that's not entirely true. I mean, the joy of these films is hanging out with a group of people you've known for so long.
Yeah.
And so on the set, you can't talk. So it's kind of fun to do just away from the set so you can kind of catch up.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do a lot of comedy stuff in the city, so you run into a lot of these people. So that's why I know all these people. I'm just like, I saw Tim 2 weeks ago, that kind of thing.
Well, you'd be brilliant at casting something like this because, we use David Rubin, and David's obviously very good.
From your lips to God's ears, you know?
But I remember for Family Tree, I think Chris and I went to the, what's the one down on Franklin? The
UCB.
UCB,
Yeah.
And he'd never been there, and I'd never been there.
Mm-hmm.
And we went just like a random night. And I have to say it because I know there's some really good people that come out of there.
Yeah.
It was god awful.
Yeah.
It was god awful.
It's you go one night and it's amazing. You go one night and it's maybe the new class.
And I think we were there quite early, so it probably
Sure.
wasn't the creme de la creme.
Yeah.
But Chris just looked at me and went, I can't take this anymore. Let's go and get a cheese.
See, it stinks when
sandwich.
that happens though, because then in your brain or his brain forever, you're like, that was bad.
Yeah, I think for him more than me, because I knew, that a lot of people come out through there.
Zach was a big UCB guy. Zach
was
Woods.
he? Yeah. I just think we went on a bad night.
Zach started taking classes. I think he was 15 or 16.
Oh my God!
And would commute up from Pennsylvania to New York every day for classes.
Wow!
A real dedication to it.
Wow.
Now Chris is so funny. I think his first one, is he in Best in Show? He's in Mighty Wind.
He's in Mighty Wind. Is Moynihan in Best in Show? That's a good question.
I don't know if he is.
I don't think so.
I'll take a look.
There's Kerry. Kerry Aisley. Yeah, I couldn't
check
answer
right
that.
now. Yeah.
He might have been. I have a funny feeling he was in Guffman.
Oh, wow.
But I may be wrong.
Let's take a look.
Or do we have to make it up?
According to Wikipedia, his first one is Mighty Wind.
There you go.
There you go.
So
Thank you, Wikipedia.
You're the man. I just wing it. So where are we now? Everyone's arriving.
Gosh.
The arrival scene. There's Ed. I saw Ed recently. I had a little minor hand surgery. And as I came out of my coma, what they put you in, there next to me was Ed Begley.
Feels like a dream.
I thought, I've died. And I didn't know Ed had already died. And here he is. And he just had knee surgery. He had a knee replacement.
Wow.
So we were literally had a conversation, which I'm sure both of us have forgotten all of it because we were still in the throes of anesthetic. And there's dear Jane Lynch. She's so great.
They're both really great. I was watching a lot of, because you guys went to TIFF with this?
Yeah.
I was watching a lot of you did interviews a lot with Jane and
I did with Jane
Parker
and Susan Parker. Yeah, that was. We decided we wanted to do a remake of Charlie's Angels. We had a publicity photo with me and the three of them. It did look like a bad version of Charlie's Angels. Although is there such a thing as a bad version?
Yeah. Their dynamic in this is great.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And it's not a duo. I don't think they've ever in the other movies. They don't like spend a lot of time together.
No, we hadn't paired them at all. I don't think.
Yeah,
really. And what's going? There we go. The old shoe jokes. Yeah, so good. And I think Ed is really one of the most underrated comic actors.
Yeah.
I mean, his improvisational skills are extraordinary.
Yeah.
Extraordinary. I mean, there's a sequence in Family Tree that he does a ramble on his paranoid conspiracy theories, and it's absolutely genius.
Yeah.
It's flawless and doesn't stop. It goes on and on and on. But he is so great, and again, never a sense that he's trying to be funny.
Yeah.
It's always just playing it.
That's kind of the best version of an improviser. You
You
don't want them to feel like they're sweating to try to be funny.
No, I think it's the best version of comedy.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, even the red-nosed comedians, which I call, the real clowny ones. I mean, Fred Willard was that, but he was always played it absolutely, like he was committed, and it wasn't just, he wasn't trying to be funny.
Yes,
unless he was playing a character that is obnoxiously trying to be funny.
Of course. Which are some of the best Fred Willard characters.
Yeah, but really,
yes.
It's the bull in the china shop.
Sure.
It's that he's just so great at.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember any of the? You said you had to read one of the Kennel books for Best in Show.
Oh God, the American Kennel Club.
Do you remember anything that you didn't use? Like, are there facts that stick in your brain?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's tons of stuff that I've hopefully blotted out. I do remember thinking how fascist it was. I mean, there was like, that if the dog doesn't have a certain bone in its back, then, or if it's it's been crossbred and can't be considered, just like,
it's a dog.
Eugenics. It's like, come on, awful.
Is that the movie that people come up to the most about?
I think so. I mean, I think if we're being frank, it's the best of, I think, Chris's work.
I'm a Mighty Wind guy.
Mighty Wind, I think, is very good, but it's very specific.
Sure.
It's very.
I think objectively you are correct.
Yeah. I think it's pretty exclusive that.
Yeah.
But I think certainly the widest appeal was. I love this scene in this. This was in Burbank. It was in a restaurant in Burbank, a Mexican restaurant, and it was kind of fun because it was a scene where we were all together.
Sure.
And those are always fun. The party scenes are always great because then you get everyone together and it kind of becomes a bit of a party. Tommy Zuccarello. See, I've forgotten Chris's name. Tommy Zuccarello. It was brilliant. Chicharitos. Yeah, I think Chris and I came up with that name.
Chicharitos is so funny.
Yeah.
Did you guys design the costumes, or did you have someone
it was
work
Christine Wado. She was brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, we had obviously the idea, what we knew what we wanted, but she actually, executed it. And she was the first time we worked with her, and she was, I thought, absolutely sensational.
It feels like that might have been the most expensive part of the movie.
I don't know if it was the most expensive, but it was certainly some of the most creative parts of the movie.
Yeah.
I think the costumes, Chicharitos. Yeah, Chris had an idea. I think he wanted to call it Senior Toidies, but we felt that was too jokey.
Are these long days when you have everyone in there?
They can be, yeah. They're complicated because you've got a lot of setups.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, even in this scene, you've got lots and lots of duos within that. There was a scene, I think, in A Mighty Wind where we did the same, and it takes a while because you've got extras, you've got you have to. It has to be quite cleverly coordinated, or else it doesn't cut together.
How many cameras are you using?
We often use 2 or sometimes 3.
Okay,
yeah.
You got to.
3 often is actually because it's you can cover it and then you can do all the close-ups first because that's where the best improvisation. So it's the actual reverse of how you normally shoot. You don't do the master until the very end, and there's usually not more than 3 or 4 takes on any scene because once you run it, all the best stuff is in the first couple of takes,
of course.
And then as I say, you do the master at the very end.
Were you in the editing room for this at all?
I can't remember. I think I was. I know in Family Tree I was in a lot.
Yeah.
I think in this I was actually in Europe for some of it because Chris. It takes him 6 to 8 months.
Oh,
to
I'm
edit,
sure,
if not longer. So I could sometimes be around.
Yeah.
He had Andrew Dickler and to work with. There's a certain point where you go, I think it was a case more of sending me cuts
Mm-hmm.
and then me doing. Otherwise, you just, there are too many chefs.
Yeah.
Here's Don Lake, my
Yes.
my current writing partner.
Yeah.
Don and I, one of the great men of this world is Don Lake, and one of the funniest men.
You guys were working on a show together?
Yeah, we've written a couple of things. We got an animation show now that we're out with.
Oh, cool.
Trying to set up about a really sad ass theme park. So he and I are working on that right now.
What for you? What's the difference between writing an animated thing and writing a live action thing?
This takes longer, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Not obviously, surprisingly,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to map out everything so carefully, and Chris works very, very slowly anyway. So it was good for me because I tend to work too fast. So we could just, take, as I say, 4 to 6 months to just kind of go through and come up with ideas, and then another month or two to actually execute it into a script. But it is weird because you think a 35-page outline would be a lot quicker than writing a 100-page screenplay. But no, it's longer.
Wow.
Well, it's like you've got to you can't have any. You've got to do all the work to make sure that it doesn't go off the rails.
Yes. Yeah.
So you have to really kind of. That's a great shot.
Both of those. The plumber outfit is so good too.
The plumber is brilliant, isn't
It's
it?
so good. Here he is.
Greg Gammons. This was actually, I think, right in the building where the production office was in Sherman Oaks.
Oh wow.
We shot this. Yeah, because there's the
highway right
the
there.
101 behind. I think it's Sherman Oaks.
Was everyone excited to come back? Like, is there an energy on those sets?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think people are disappointed, now that it's probably over, and I think rightfully so. I think a new generation has to take over.
Yeah.
I felt, I love this film. I think it's really fun.
Yeah.
But there was a sense to me like, okay, this genre is kind of run its course now. And even in Family Tree, we were trying to come up with new conventions, like the walk and talk sequences we had, which we'd never done before. And I felt that, I think, when you lose Fred Willard and, Harry and Michael and McKean, and everyone's now, I can say it because I'm almost 70. They're ancient.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Harry's over 80?
Harry's,
right?
He's in his 80s.
Yeah. Pretty much New Orleans exclusively
Yeah,
almost.
I think so. Mostly, yeah. And London, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's I think this really was the sort of finale.
Sure. Well, they've got Spinal Tap too. Not
They've
the
got
same.
Spinal Tap
but,
too, absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, I get that.
And that's I'm really interested to see that because it is it's dangerous playing with the
100%. I think it's amazing how they've shot that movie. It's done and nothing has come out. There's no photos.
Yeah.
Nothing. I know nothing about that movie, and I think that's really impressive.
Yeah. I talked to CJ Vance who did the music, and Don was in it briefly.
Yeah.
So I've heard a little bit, but again,
I'm
I
excited.
didn't have much to say about it.
Sure. This ladder.
We had fun working on this scene.
Now, whenever they're in the costumes with the heads on,
Yeah.
I assume it's not them.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, especially for the routine.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a kind of given. That was so. I really love Tom and Kerry. They're so talented. It's quite watching it without sound is actually kind of really fascinating because it's quite animated.
Yes.
This scene. Do you want to piss on tradition?
How much stuff do you go in saying, I'm going to say this, I've got this in my pocket?
Well, you have ideas,
Yeah.
You have ideas, where the scene could go.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, I have about sort of 4, 5, 6 lines, possible avenues to go down. And depending on where the other person wants to go, you kind of either can take it that way or go follow them.
Yeah.
I think most people do. I mean, Fred used to write down reams and reams of stuff. It was, and then Ed, I don't know. He has to prepare mentally, because he couldn't come up with what he comes up with. And Chris claims he doesn't do a single thing. He just literally whatever comes out on the day.
Wow.
I don't believe it for a second, because I think he's thought about it.
Yeah, of course, you sort of have to. I think it's impossible to not.
I think so, and a lot of the group are also writers, so that helps. So they've all got ideas, and some of it you just do come. I mean, half of that scene, I was all for me anyway. I don't know about the other two. Just I came up with on the day.
Are you, if you finish a scene, will you end it sometimes being disappointed that you didn't go down a certain route, or it's just meant to be the way it's meant to be?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you can ask to sort of say, got this idea, could we try one and do that? I think the disappointment for everybody comes, there's always a slight disappointment when you see the final film, because you remember all the stuff you came up with. And I remember Eugene Levy saying, everyone has to brace themselves.
Yeah.
That the movie will be sound bites. It'll be sound bites of what you did.
Yeah.
So probably a 10th, if that, maybe a 20th of what you came up with is in the movie. Just because it has to be. It's got to be the best stuff.
What do you think the longest cut of this movie could be?
Oh, of any of them?
Yeah.
Oh, it could be 4 hours, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Just doesn't, I mean, I think Chris has played around with all his movies. I mean, there was a cut of Waiting for Guffman that he cut his characters, Corky St. Clair, out.
Oh, wow.
Entirely.
Wow.
There was no Corky, and then he put it back in.
Yeah.
But, I think his aim is always to get it down to 90 minutes or below, because it doesn't sustain.
You sort of have to be brutal, I imagine, where it's just like...
Yeah, it's tough because the scenes in themselves that get cut work. But I mean, on my demo reel, I have a scene from Family Tree that was never in the shot.
Oh yeah,
because it was, I think, one of the better scenes Chris O'Dowd and I did.
Yeah.
So I think it's always hard, and here we have Corky St. Clair making a comeback.
What was the discussion about him coming back? Was he hesitant at all? You can only speak for yourself,
he was
obviously.
Actually more hesitant about doing his character in Family Tree. He wanted to pull out at the last minute.
Oh, wow.
That sounded ruder than I meant it to. Literally the day before, I remember him saying to me and Karen Murphy, the producer, I don't have a handle on this character. I think he should go. And we talked him into staying, and it was actually worked fine. It was some very funny stuff. Yeah. I think Chris had just didn't know what he wanted to play, and he just... I can't remember if it was his idea or my idea. I know it came up at some point that we just went, well, if you're going to play a director of one of the Mascots,
you might as well.
You've already played a director, and he played a different director for your consideration, obviously. So maybe he just got completely lazy and then went, I'm going to do Corky. And I certainly wasn't going to object.
Of course. Was it a surprise that he was Corky? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was not announced beforehand.
No.
Yeah. I mean, he seems to slip right back into it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's no kind of backstory of what he's been doing, I don't think, really.
Which I think is fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess that's nice for you. It's one less character to have to worry about.
Absolutely.
You're like, he can handle this. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm saying it was a lazy choice on his part. It was a lazy choice on my part. No, I mean, it was kind of, I think, a fun thing to just throw in there. It also brings, pardon me, the sort of Chris Guest oeuvre. What's the plural of
oeuvre? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oeuvre.
I guess there's no plural.
Yeah.
There's me talking French. And I think it brings it full circle, because Guffman was the first film.
Sure. How did this movie change you as a writer? And I guess Family Tree, too. Did it change you writing more standard movies at all?
I don't think so. Yeah. No, I think that they're very different beasts. I think it made me... It slowed me down, for sure, because Chris does like to work slowly. I think it became more of a puzzle. I mean, I've written thrillers, which are a certain puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
But when I had a yellow pad, one of these yellow pads I have everywhere, and it was at least one or two of them just full of notes, random, all over the place. And to try and organize that and into a coherent story, let alone a movie, just any sort of story, was quite a challenge.
Yeah.
Bob Balaban.
Another great duo.
And Jennifer Coolidge. There's a great partnership, Little and Large, which is a comedy team in England. That's... Bob's so great.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how is Bob on set? What is?
He's brilliant. I mean, I just love Bob. I've actually worked with him on a few other things. He's just just so great at playing that completely straight, humorless.
His scene in Mighty Wind when he's on the stage talking about the like stage decorations and how they're bigger than normal, and like it's truly, I think, maybe the funniest scene.
Is that the scene where Hitchcock slaps him?
Yes.
On the head.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
great.
One of the great moments because that was completely out of nowhere.
That's so funny. Another duo, I don't think they'd done a lot in the other movies.
I don't think so, no.
Yeah.
No, Bob's a really smart guy, you know, and he's a very canny producer and he's a terrific actor, and he's a director. He's, you know, like a lot of us, a major hyphenate. Yeah. I'm not sure if he writes.
It's also just an insane career. Like, he's in Close Encounters, you know, and he's in Midnight Cowboy, I think, right? And like just so many crazy things.
I know, he's got such a distinctive face.
Yes.
I mean, he and Don have got a quintessential character actors.
Yeah.
And Jennifer's just insane. She is absolutely insane.
It's very, like, obviously everyone has loved her for a long time, but it's nice to see her getting so much more attention now.
I was wondering
White Lotus and everything.
I was wondering what happened to her career.
I got great news.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, White Lotus, she was extraordinary.
Yeah.
Absolutely extraordinary.
I have a question. I'm looking around your office.
Yes.
I'm centered in on the Tooth Fairy poster, of course.
Yeah.
You wrote the story for Tooth Fairy, not the script.
I did write the story for it. It was one of those things where I pitched it to Jason Blum. I just had a general meeting. He said, "Have you got anything you think of doing?" And I'd had a dinner with my daughter, who was 11 at the time, recently, and I'd talked about wanting to do a Christmas movie, and then I realized that they'd all been done. So I said, "What about the Tooth Fairy?" And we talked for a while, and I wrote up some notes, and that happened literally the day before I met with Jason. I said, "I got this idea," and he loved it. He said, "Go away and write, you know, a full treatment."
Yeah.
So I wrote a long treatment for it, and that possibly was actually. That helped me when it came to writing with Chris.
Oh, sure.
I'd never done that before. And I said to him after I'd finished it, I said, here's the scene with Brad. We have to interrupt for a second.
Yes, of course.
Brad and Fred. Anyway, I said, I've written family movies, comedy. And I think there are people that can do this better. And I was doing something much more indie at that time. And so we got Gans and Mandel, the deans of, you know,
of comedy,
studio comedy.
Yes.
And the film came together very, very quickly, actually. Oh, look at this. What a...
They're so funny together, too. Like, they both have different rhythms, but they work in such a good way together.
I mean, I think this was a no-brainer for Chris and I.
Of course.
It's... Once we got Brad, and we really liked him, and I showed Chris some stuff of his, and once we got him aboard, we went, well, you have to put him... The most inappropriate person.
Of course, yeah.
It's got to be Fred, and... the questions again, the stupidity level.
Yes.
Is staggering.
I mean, the best thing about Fred in all these movies is he's the stupid one. He's not making other people look stupid.
Yeah.
And I think that's the important way that makes scenes like this work. Because
and operating out of the top of his intelligence.
Totally, yes.
Yeah.
But in a lesser hand, I think this scene would be like, oh boy, you know?
Yeah, it would have been...
It's tougher. It's a tougher thing to pull off.
Well, also, oddly, it works well with his age. Because a man of that generation,
of course,
wouldn't find any of that offensive.
Yeah.
Whereas if it had been even me, who's a little bit younger, it would have been offensive.
Yeah.
Well, not to me, but to somebody.
But the thing I was going to ask about Tooth Fairy.
Yeah.
There's a Tooth Fairy 2.
Yeah.
Do you get paid for Tooth Fairy 2?
I was the only person.
Yeah.
Literally the only person.
Yeah.
The Rock, the director, Michael, nobody got paid.
Yeah.
But because I created the story, none of the screenplay writers got paid.
Sure.
I did. It wasn't a large sum of money.
Yeah, but it was something.
And I've not seen it.
Sure.
I've heard it's complete and utter shite.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Here am I dissing another film, which is bad form anyway, and one I haven't even seen.
Of course.
But I think
it's okay.
It's okay.
Yes.
Let's just say, with all no due respect, actually, that Larry the Cable Guy is not The Rock. No. And let's leave it there. Let's get back to Brad Williams and Fred Willard. Before I
get it. It's so funny.
Oh yeah, this was kind of fun to put these two together as a sort of to have a little bit of a flirtatious.
More than flirtatious. It
Yeah,
gets pretty.
But you don't normally. I mean, I guess in Best in Show you have all the people that have slept with
with Jane,
Catherine's character.
Oh yeah.
But we don't actually do too much. Sex doesn't rear its.
Sure. Well, I said Jane because I think in what was it, Mighty Wind? Wasn't she a former adult actress? I think.
Oh, she
that was what I said Jane for. Yeah. But yes, no.
But you don't really see much.
Yes, and it's very quick. This is the most overt. I feel like.
Yeah. And I can't remember where this came into play. Whether we did. I definitely it was plotted out that this would be a moment of because it makes sense because his marriage is so tenuous.
Was this? Did they shoot For Your Consideration on like digitally, or was this the first one?
I don't remember.
Yeah, because I imagine that changes how he directs things because you have almost unlimited space. You know, you're not trying to save film.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, Chris is pretty much of a stickler for shooting on film.
Yeah,
and I know that was a big issue with Family Tree because they didn't want us to. Oh, this is I forgot the chewing gum moment. Breathing heavily, both moaning. I love the subtitles, and then Olive's Bistro.
This scene is so funny too.
I'm trying to remember where this was. I think this was Long Beach. We shot quite a bit down in Long Beach.
Interesting. Because it doesn't really look like L.A. or why? What was the?
It's pretty generic.
Yeah.
And it's usually about a cluster of locations, so you don't have to keep schlepping around. Oh, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was Glendale. I don't remember.
It could be Glendale. It looks
Yeah. Oh God. Carrie is so good. She's one of those underrated people who just is always good.
Yeah. Yeah. Just her being like, I don't remember that. I have no idea what you're talking about.
And she's so real. She's so real. That's great.
I can't imagine that costume's easy to walk around in.
No.
Imagine the hips.
I think any of them were. I mean, the actors and the stunt people, whenever they're finished with a scene, it was drenched in sweat.
Oh, I'm sure.
Absolutely drenched.
Yeah.
I was really happy that I didn't have to do that.
Was there ever a discussion of you doing it for a scene?
I think there was, and I think we do. I don't know if it ended up in the movie. We had some old footage.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember if there was anything.
I think there might be some old footage, but of course it wasn't me.
Yeah, sure.
So, that had to do it. Was this a school or I think it was a school.
It looks like
we shot in.
Could be a church. It looks a little like a church.
This is a wonderfully tasteless. Just oh dear. I think I had to talk Chris into this. Because he's not quite as tasteless as I am.
Is that the biggest difference between you two as writers?
Yeah, probably. He has a scatological sense of humor, so he appreciates it.
Yeah.
But I'll go there quicker.
Sure.
And I'll go there. I'll definitely I mean, it's weird because I think he's slightly gentler. But on the other hand, I seize on the moments where there's some heart. And I felt that one of the things I wanted to do with both this and Family Tree was make sure that we weren't laughing at the people at all. And that there was also an emotional aspect. And Chris liked that. And there's a moment later, I think, when I'm finally acknowledging my son and how great he's been, despite my advice to the contrary of what he should do. But Chris said he felt that was one of the great emotional moments of the movie.
Yeah.
I was very happy with that because I really felt like these movies, it helps.
Well, you want them to feel like real people.
Yeah, and I think this movie has actually probably more heart than some of it.
Yeah.
They're less satirical and more, they got a bit more heart.
When was the first time you saw it? Like the final cut?
It would have been, I'm sure we had a screening of some sorts.
Yeah.
Again, it's hard because I go backwards and forwards to Europe quite a lot. I think I missed the premiere of Best in Show. I might have missed this one because I was shooting something in England.
Yeah.
But also with something like a Netflix film, I think we probably just had a screening.
Yeah.
There's no
really
one does
premiere
premieres anymore, really, unless it's a major franchise movie, which is sad.
It is sad.
God, look at them all. They're so serious. The self-importance of this judge, this kangaroo court. They're so good at... Oh, look at that.
His hair and his mustache are so good. Just like the styling of each of the characters is great.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Yeah, her hair.
You just know exactly who that guy is.
Yeah. Now, do they have input in that, or is that...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In terms of their costume, their hair.
Yeah.
I remember on Mighty Wind when Fred played the oh no, it's for your consideration. Didn't play the news guy.
Oh yes.
And he came in and he hadn't told Chris. He dyed his hair, bleached it blonde, and cut it in sort of like a Billy Idol thing. And Chris kind of actually was the only time I've seen him sort of freak out. He was like, okay, that's too much. I think it's too much. We got to pull it back.
Yeah.
And so I think it did get pulled back a little. And I also remember in I think it was that movie where Jennifer came in and said, "I've got two silly voices, silly voice A," and she did it, and silly voice B, and he went B, and that was it. She did that. That's how she talked that.
Yeah.
The whole time. I think it was Mighty Wind.
Yeah, it is Mighty Wind.
And no, it's no explanation.
Yeah.
But I just remember Chris's deadpan face. She said, "I've got these two voices," and he just looked at her without even cracking a hint of a smile, and just went B.
How were those model trains in that movie?
Great.
Were they cool?
God, they were brilliant.
Yeah.
It was some guy who let us do it in the valley.
Yeah.
Boy, it was great.
It was.
I loved all that.
Yeah. You could just tell that whoever owned those, that was their life, and that was their like. He spent so much time and energy putting this together, and it's amazing.
Some people have. I mean, apparently Rod Stewart has an extraordinary model train collection, which I just saw recently.
Do you have a thing? Do you have any collections?
No, I don't.
No,
I did. I got given as a birthday present when I was, I think, 10, my brother's old train set. I thought, that's really, how fucking lazy is that? Sorry, can I say swear?
Yeah, of course.
I can't believe I haven't sworn before now.
No, it's great.
I was really annoyed at my parents. How dare you? Just give me his cast-off train set. Not even a new piece in it.
My grandpa had a lot.
I'm not bitter.
My grandpa had a lot of model trains, and then he sold them right before I was born. And my mom was mad about it because she's like,
"Oh yeah,
Patrick could have fun with those." And he's like, "No, it's time to get rid of them." Just no discussion. That was it. So we had different experiences with hand-me-down trains.
Oh, I love this talking to mirror. Always good.
Yeah.
Self-motivation in a mirror talk.
How did you guys find Chris for Family Tree?
O'Dowd?
Yeah.
I'd been a fan of his for a while.
Yeah.
And I showed some tape of him to Chris Guest. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of people in contention. And then we went to London ostensibly to set the show up with the BBC, to sell that first there and then come back, get a partner here. And that's when he met some people. And he immediately talked to Chris and said, no, that's the guy.
Yeah.
And we had to alter it slightly because he's Irish. So we made a few adjustments. But there was a couple of people that were very, very good too. And one of them sent me a lovely letter saying, I know I was in contention and I would have loved anything to have played that part. Yeah. But you made a great choice with Chris,
that's good.
And he was wonderful.
Yeah.
I thought, what class.
That's really nice.
What class.
Yeah.
And there was another guy called Miles Jupp, who's incredibly talented, who's a comedian and an actor in England. And he was a strong consideration. But listen, they've both gone on to have great careers.
Yeah. Miles didn't send a letter, though.
Miles didn't send a letter. And if you're listening, I'm still waiting, Mark. No, he doesn't need to send me a letter. He's doing perfectly well on his own.
Yeah. Is there, because Family Tree's not on Max anymore?
No, I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
I think it is somewhere else, but I don't know where.
I think it's on Apple. I think you can rent it on Apple TV or whatever, but I was going to rewatch it last night. I was disappointed that it wasn't up there.
I think
they dumped a lot of stuff.
And it was a very expensive show.
Yeah, sure.
And one of the reasons we didn't do a second season was the cost. Mm-hmm. But they made a sort of unilateral decision without coming to us because we knew we could reduce the cost of it. And I think that was a big disappointment because that series really was a slow burn and it picked up a big audience. It's really fun.
It was expensive because of the people involved, or
just shooting it in 2 countries.
Oh, sure.
Sure. And because Chris wanted to do film and not digital, so it was more expensive.
I like the towel against the toilet. Not a detail I would have thought of, but it's very funny.
Yeah, just slumped. Oh God, she looks so awful.
We should talk about your book a little bit because I want people to read your book.
Talk about my book over the film.
Yeah,
book to film.
Yeah.
Film to book.
It came out 2 years ago.
Yeah,
it's really great. I loved it. I want to get the title right. It's called "Caught with My Pants Down."
Another Tales from a Life in Hollywood.
Yes. Yeah. It's very enjoyable. You can get it online. But you go through everything, and hearing the stories about the TV shows and the movies that you wrote. It's very fun. How long did it take you to write it?
I did it during lockdown. So it probably took me about 6 months in all. I mean, it's just hard because you have to go back and make sure you haven't got things completely wrong. And then your memory distorts things anyway, but they usually distort them to make them funnier. My sole aim in that book was to not have... It had to have appeal to people outside show business. And that was the big joy for me, was that it resonated with loads of people who have nothing to do with show business, don't even particularly like show business. And that for me was the victory. Yeah, I had an ex U.S. Navy guy who lives in Indiana, I think, and he had me on his podcast and said, it just really resonated with him as a human story.
Sure.
And then I had 2 ministers in Kansas, I think, who had me on their podcast. Again, nothing to do with show business, and they just said they really related to it as a human story. So that's really great. That really pleased me.
Yeah. Was there anything that when you finished it and put it out, you were upset you forgot about or meant to put in there? Oh, we should talk about this walk and talk here.
Yeah, here we go. Walk and talk. We did actually do a walk and talk here. Look at that tracksuit.
Are you mentally planning? Okay, we have 15 feet left in the hallway. We have 10 feet left in the hallway.
Oh yeah, you have to really time that.
We got to wrap this up.
Yeah. You got to time.
Do you rehearse it?
I think we might have rehearsed it once, but usually you just shoot straight away and then do a couple. Yeah, this was definitely in. It wasn't a stage. This is what you're talking about.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
No, it was in a studio.
Okay. The costumes are so good.
It was either at Culver Studios or or I'm trying to think, or maybe it was. I think it was down in Culver City.
Okay,
can't remember, but it was definitely in a studio. Oh God, it's so obscene that too. The pencil going in the pencil sharpener. Oh, I love this. I love this scene with the
He's
cop.
really funny. The cop's really
Cop's
funny.
brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't know his name,
Yeah.
which I feel embarrassed about, but he was absolutely superb.
Also, like, looks like a cop.
Totally looks
which
like
is
a cop.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel bad that I don't remember his name, but I remember thinking how good he was.
Yeah.
Again, complete commitment. And Tom was
just him
superb at trying.
Being in the outfit too, being in the
and not even really.
Yeah. Do you did you learn anything about mascotting while making this that you didn't know before? Like, did you guys do a lot of research for it?
Yeah. I'd done a lot of research for when I wanted to do the documentary. So, we did talk to some mascots people. Yeah. So I learned a little bit, yeah.
I should also say the cop's name Ross Kimball, and I forgot he's in the TV show Jury Duty.
Oh, okay.
Which was huge. He's one of the guys on the jury.
Oh, I love that show.
Yes. Well, he's
they
the guy.
Did
I think
season, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic.
They've done
show.
a second one. Second one's coming out soon. He's the one.
Good.
It's like his birthday party that they're having in the park, and he gets into a big.
Oh, that's right.
That's him.
So good.
So sorry. Did you do research and stuff for it? Or
yeah, a lot of research.
Yeah.
So I don't think during the course of it I learned too much more.
Sure. Yeah.
How
far down did you go trying to do it as a documentary? Was it just conversations or?
Yeah, I mean, I looked into it. I talked to a friend of mine, James Gay Reese, who produced the Amy Winehouse thing, Exit Through the Gift Shop.
Mm-hmm.
He did Senna.
Yeah.
Some really great.
Yeah.
And he loved the idea. But then when we talked the numbers, just for me, it wasn't fun. The amount of time I'd have to spend doing it.
Years, sometimes documentaries.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Chris was happy to exec produce it, but he wasn't comfortable interviewing people.
Sure.
So it would have been a lot of work. And then I thought, we could have more fun and more license doing this.
And you're hanging out with your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was great to be able to sort of wrap up the cycle of films with this. Oh.
The people who are in the mascot outfits, when it's not them, obviously, they do such a good job of, you're like, well, that could be her. That could be him. Like, the way they move feels very similar, and it's, yeah.
But, yeah, we had to cheat the routines were too complicated.
Sure. Do you have a favorite mascot? I'm sure you got asked that 100 times.
Well, I think the fist always made me laugh.
Yeah.
Because it was rude.
Yeah.
But I like them all.
What about real life ones?
They're all... well, some of them are quite boring, really. Right? But, I mean, I remember reading a story about... I did. The plumber too was great. I mean, they're all good. We kind of whittled it down to our favorite ideas. Jennifer. So I read this story about. We got to have a plumber's crack joke about the two mascots in England getting into a punch up, and ending up in jail.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of a bluebird punching a bear or something and just going to jail for it was amusing to me.
There's a woman, Bonnie Erickson, who was a designer for the Muppets. She designed Miss Piggy, and she designed the Philly Fanatic.
Oh, the poo!
So funny. No, it's great.
Yeah, we had to have a poo.
She designed the Philly Fanatic for the Phillies baseball team, and signed a contract in 1978 saying, in perpetuity, it's mine, whatever. Yeah. And then in 2018, 2019, they tried to change it a little bit so they didn't have to pay her whatever her rate was, and she went to court and she won.
Good.
Yeah. But it's it's this whole, culture of
totally
people who make these things, people who this is their life.
Yeah. There was a husband and wife team that was based on my football club, Pete and Alice the Eagle.
Yeah.
It was a husband and wife team.
Amazing.
So, the poo, the rapping poo. Oh, and the furry, the creepy rabbit.
Ugh.
I wanted to go further with that, of course.
Of course, yeah. The furry scene is really funny. I think we talked over it, but
yeah, we were subtle with it, which is probably the right thing to do. Yeah. If I'd been left to my own devices, it would have become quite obscene. Working out these acts was quite complicated, and actually executing it.
I assume you had a choreographer for it?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, a lot of hard work went into that. This was definitely a studio.
Mm-hmm.
Just seeing these. Oh, God. I'd forgotten this.
He's got such a funny line later where he's like, do you think that's a real rabbi under there?
Oh, God.
It's so funny.
Rabbi and the worm. Free sausage night.
Also, the non-specificity and the specificity of the waffle place it toes that line. That's really funny.
And the kind of the time, like the worst possible time to be bringing this up.
Yes. Ugh.
What's so great about Fred is that he played these characters that sort of don't seem to not give a shit about anyone or anything. Mm-hmm. They're just, and yet in real life he was the exact opposite. Yeah. He was very caring and very solicitous of your well-being.
Of course.
Which is interesting.
I saw him do stand-up one time, almost close to when he passed away. And he hung out at the end and talked to every single person who wanted to come up and talk to him. And it was just like a very nice thing I was like visiting the city, and it was a very nice, like, oh, LA's not that bad. LA's pretty good, you know?
Absolutely. No, he and Mary, his wife, were great friends, and they had 3 parties a year, and I would always go to them. It was Christmas, St. Patrick's Day, and July 4th.
That's amazing.
And every year, a whole group of people. Actually, not many from the Chris Guest troupe.
Oh, interesting.
There was myself, Ed Begley, and maybe, I don't know if anyone else, actually. Maybe 1 or 2 others, but...
I mean, that room it feels so big. It gives a sense of
it does,
scale.
Of an arena.
In the way that a lot of the Guest movies end. You know, you have the arena, you have the concert, you have this,
the performance,
do you know, is it public how much this movie cost?
Yes, I think it was the biggest budget we ever had.
Yeah.
By a chunk. It was 15.
Oh, wow. Still pretty cheap.
Yeah,
like in for most movies, that's pretty cheap.
I think the previous high was probably 10.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say how much it costs, but who cares?
If they get this far, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, I love the acting out.
Yeah,
all the stuff coming to the surface. Here it goes. Here it goes. It's all falling apart. Again, I mean, it's the same with all the final acts of these. It's the reactions as much as anything else. Obviously, we don't have commentators, but we've got judges instead.
Yeah.
But it's the same function. It's the Greek chorus. You know, I mean, it's interesting that when people refer to Best in Show, they often say, "Oh, you played one of the 2 judges." You go, no, actually, we were commentators.
That's funny.
But because people think of it as in that way.
You're at the table. It feels like a judging table a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. It just all falls apart. It's just... Again, the reactions are really where you get laughs. And Don's always he's always the kindest of all.
Of course.
There's a sort of sweetness to him.
Are you good at coming up with names?
Yeah, we spend a lot of time.
I was just looking at their names, and they're so specific.
We spend a lot of time. And usually about 4:00 at the end of our writing day, we come up with names and make ourselves laugh until we're kind of hysterical. And end up using none of them.
Sure.
Yeah, because they're so ridiculous. We had doing heart attack acting. I remember in Family Tree we were coming up with some names, and we wanted to call a character Mr. Prineux. Like, it's French, Prineaux, but it's pronounced Pricknose. I don't think we ever used it. Still makes me laugh.
That's so funny.
That's a match.
How is Chris as a director?
Oh, he's awful.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. Now we're getting to the real
terrible
stuff.
No, he's great. He's very. Actually, it's the most alive he becomes, and he's very. It's a very congenial atmosphere.
Does he give a lot of notes or
No.
direction or anything? He lets you do your thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then just makes adjustments. It's very focused.
What's been the set that you've enjoyed the most? Not even just a guest set, but
Of any set?
yeah.
I had a great time on the 5-year engagement. Really great time.
Yeah.
Got along so well with Jackie Weaver and
It's such a great cast in that movie.
Mimi and David Paymer. We were the parents. So we hung out a lot. So that was really fun.
Yeah.
And then that movie up there, See This Movie with Seth Meyers, John Cho, Jessalyn Gilsig, Jessica Pereira, and myself. It was really... And Patton Oswalt was actually in it. Playing a supporting role. Had a great time on that. It was real guerrilla filmmaking.
And you get the "and" on the poster.
I do, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Got the ends.
That's pretty good.
But it was really fun.
Yeah.
We had such a great time. And I think Family Tree was possibly one of the most fun times I've had, because we had the 4 episodes we did in England, then came back and did the 4 here. I would say that was probably where I felt like firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
Writing, producing, running the show, acting.
And then it comes out and it's good, which is also a rare thing for Hollywood in general.
Yeah, I mean the pilot is really setting the table, but
Yeah.
after that it starts to really get going.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
Now, her costume's great because there's not a lot to it.
Yeah.
And you can see, it's a weird sentence, you can see her body and you can see her moving, and it's so much different from the rest of them. Was that something you guys came up with? Or?
Yeah, we wanted to have one that was more sort of nouveau.
Yeah.
And not so traditional. Or much more artsy-fartsy. I think I just broke the microphone coughing then. Yeah, it's just so freestyle awful.
Yeah.
My God.
That's great.
Yeah, these sequences were really, really, really complicated.
Oh, I'm sure.
In some says.
How many takes do you think? I mean, you might not have been there for these, but was this a lot? Did they do multiple times for each of these? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think technically it was the hardest part to do.
I just imagine editing dancing has got to be tough.
Yeah.
Just to make it all line up and everything.
I mean, also it was it broke all the normal rules. It took an immense amount of rehearsal, and we don't have any rehearsal for acting scenes. I'm imagining Mighty Wind, they had some rehearsal for the final show, and I know that when Mighty Wind there was Gaffman. I mean, Mighty Wind definitely. Oh, and this goes on and on, doesn't it? We kept cutting because it was the idea that it just never ended.
Yeah. Yeah, talking about Rushmore's in South Carolina.
Great.
Oh. I'm a big Lost guy.
Oh yeah.
How did that happen?
I can't remember Lost. I just got cast in it, and I went to Hawaii for that. Which I'd been to before. I'd forgotten how horrible Honolulu is. We're staying in a hotel downtown Honolulu, and It's worse than downtown LA.
It's so touristy. It's just...
Well, it's just it's vile.
Yeah,
it's like really run down.
Dirty and
I mean, Waikiki, you get more touristy and it's a bit, but the actual downtown Honolulu is crack.
Yeah,
really
it's sad.
It's Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Mm-hmm. Did you have time to hang out, or were you just in and out for filming? Do you remember?
I was there for a week or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever it was.
nice.
So, yeah, I had some time.
Were they? Sorry, I'm just asking the last questions. Now, were they? Had it already premiered? Like, did you know that it was a big deal when you were on?
Yeah,
yeah.
I think I was. I don't know what season I was in, but
You're in season 1. You're pretty early.
Was I?
Yeah.
Huh. For some reason I thought I was later than that.
No, you're pretty early in 1.
Well, then its entire success is down to me, obviously. I hadn't realised that. I'll take credit for that now.
Yeah.
The judges. I love Don's reactions. He's always like wanting to think the best, but just can't quite get there.
What are his strengths as a writer while you're working with him?
Well, we laugh all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we just laugh. He's very, very collaborative. So I think we've done one project where he was in the driving seat because it was his thing. And I came into it later. But mostly he'll ride shotgun, but he's brilliant at riding shotgun.
Yeah.
So, and all the stuff we come up with is completely mutual in terms of how it works. Mm-hmm. God, I think I might still have that tracksuit. It was so awful. I know I've got one of the shirts from there.
Do you keep stuff from set often? Or
I do have stuff. Yeah, I've got upstairs. I've got a load of stuff. Probably you'll just have to junk it at some point or put it on eBay.
Yeah,
and
sell it.
Sell it for $2. This act was, I think, probably, if my memory serves right, the hardest to choreograph.
Why is that?
I think there was so many things that had to go exactly right.
Yeah. With the ladder and everything too. That's
the ladder was the real.
That's a stunt. That is a real stunt.
Yeah. I can't remember when we decided who would win, too. But I think it had to be emotionally what was the most satisfying.
Were there people when you were writing out the outline that you thought would have a bigger or smaller part in the movie that changed when you actually filmed it?
That doesn't often happen, no. Yeah. I think... God, this guy was good.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry. Allergies. He was so good. I mean, you can see why this act was so complex.
Oh, totally. The latter, it's very impressive. Like what he's about to do is like
it's really
genuinely very impressive.
Yeah, it's very clever. But yeah, I mean, we needed to have an ending that was satisfying. Who you wanted to win,
sure.
Ultimately,
and you said my son.
Well, I think it was you. You kind of. He was the nicest of them all.
Yeah.
So you kind of want the good guy to win.
Yeah. This movie's also shot really well. Like there's some shots that are just like really, for an improvised comedy.
Yeah.
It's a very impressive shot.
Oh my God.
Which is how it should be. Like things shouldn't look bad just because of them being improvised,
This guy was so good.
Is he on a wire?
I think he had to be. Yes,
right? He has to be.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was definitely on a wire, and we had to take it out afterwards.
Yeah.
I could do some shocked acting. He pulled it off.
Do you have a favorite kind of acting? I.e. shocked acting, sad acting,
I think stupid acting is always the most fun to play.
Yeah.
Chris and I always agreed on that playing stupid was always fun.
Yeah.
the Fist.
And the announcer is Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is nice that he got in there. Yeah,
Harry Shearer's voice. Yeah. Mr. Voiceover.
Yes.
Don's face.
Movies like this are fun because you can just pick one person to watch. If you're just like, I'm just going to watch Jane.
Yeah.
And it's a totally different experience than just watching Don. You know,
I think that's the joy of the guest movies is that you can watch them multiple times.
Yeah.
And they don't get old.
Yeah.
I love the Fist. I think the Fist is. I think that was the
lighting is so good.
Great creation.
Yeah. They must be hard to see out of too. Like he's got that mesh, but I can't imagine it's easy, especially on roller skates.
Yeah. Ed really getting into it. Oh God.
Also, his costume being like beat up a little bit, like there's like dirt on it and stuff. It adds so much to it.
Yeah. It's so appropriate for hockey and just the kind of brute force stuff.
Do events like this exist?
No.
No.
I don't think so. I mean, not to my knowledge.
Yeah.
I think they have conventions possibly, but
sure.
We created the idea of the World Championships. Yeah, this is the scene where there is actually a little bit of a proper acting going on here. Where, God, I don't think I've ever looked worse in a movie. That hair is so awful. That hair is just, and the sideburns. Oh, God.
Also, it's like peeking out a little bit in the back too.
Oh, it's awful.
It's
awful. It's kind of like it is now. Actually, I need a haircut. And I think Carrie's so lovely.
Yeah.
She gave that role so much heart too.
Mm-hmm. The background actors are so good too.
Yeah.
Everyone in the stands, they're like really selling it.
Oh, that's right. Comes in with the. This is probably the most scripted of anything that we've done in any of the films. Was this show?
Sure.
I'm sure in Guffman they had but it was a little bit freestyling.
I mean, so much of this is choreographed
or
whatever.
And the acts were really very specific about what happens.
Yeah.
There were a couple of things we couldn't do. But,
sure.
I think he was supposed to end up diving into the tee off the
Uh-huh.
ladder. It didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't play.
A great reveal.
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. Oh, here we go. Yeah. The furry. Yeah, no, well, I guess we did have the smutty payoff.
Mm-hmm.
The deliberations. The tension.
Is that who you think you would have picked if you were a judge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the most spectacular act.
Yeah. Fist, though. Fist's pretty good.
Fist is pretty good.
Yeah.
It was kind of brute force. The fluffies. Michael. Look.
They're so proud.
The tension builds.
Do you ever have other ideas for movies like this that you think if he was up for? If a total hypothetical world.
I think I used to.
Yeah.
Way back, there was I always thought there was a movie set in a Renaissance fair. And I did a bit of research on that. But I think I talked to Chris about it, and I think he felt that that it was a bit too close to some other stuff that's been done, that he's done. But Renaissance Fairs are some really funny, weird characters.
Yeah.
But it's now, I mean, I think after this, I felt, okay, I think
you did it.
Run its course,
We've done it.
You know.
Yeah.
You got to really reinvent the wheel now.
Sure.
That's my only criticism of this film, is that I feel like it's beginning to get a bit predictable or derivative of previous ones. I think it's beautifully executed. I think it stands up. But there's an element of, we've sort of seen the formula before.
Sure. It is nice that there was so much time in between, even for your consideration in this. I think it was almost 10 years probably, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it still feels good, and they're all still doing it. They're all still firing. Like, it works. And it's nice, because a lot of times when things come back after such a long time, it does not.
Yeah. I mean, normally there was a 3-year gap, I think, between the films, and then this was a much bigger one, although there was the series in between.
Sure.
But yes, I agree. And I think it's good that they're not every year, you know, because it's like, oh yes, this is
another one,
a flavor. We haven't had this meal for a while.
Yeah.
Oh,
there's excited acting.
Elated acting.
Yes. Did you feel like this group was, so many other shows, I don't want to say aped their style, but you had The Office, you had Modern Family, you had a lot of people doing the documentary style shows. Was that something they were happy that was being more exposed to the world, or did you think people felt like, well, that's our thing? We were doing that.
Oh no, I think it's kind of the ultimate compliment, really, to use the documentary style. I mean, Chris hates the word mockumentary because he said we're not mocking anything.
That's why I said documentary style.
Yeah, documentary style. You read the book.
I did.
And I think that's great.
Yeah.
And as I say, I mean, I'm a big fan of Reno 911 and Trailer Park Boys. I love that stuff, and there's a freedom to it and a sort of looseness that I love. But I think it's got a bit tired in comedy. You know, after The Office and after Modern Family, you're going, okay, you have to rethink this now. You know, it's the most awkward kiss in history. I
mean, it's tough to bring new things to that style.
I think so. I think you've got to really look at other documentary styles. And I think that's the way to go if you're going to do that now.
Yeah.
Of course, people sort of saying, Spinal Tap started it, and my great pal Eric Idle said, "Fuck off." It was the Ruttles. I was doing it long before.
Yeah.
So he claims the Ruttles was really the first, and he's probably right.
That's true, because that's like mid to late 70s, 78 maybe.
The first one, I was in the second one.
Yeah.
But the first one was way before any of that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're losing our engineers.
Engineers got to take a shit. If it's a shit, you go upstairs.
I hope there's no tech problems. I think it'll be fine. So yeah, I mean, he did. You're right. That was so much earlier. How did you guys meet? Oh, you made Burn Hollywood Burn.
Yeah. That was with Naomi Campbell. We had all these scenes with Naomi Campbell, and we just made each other laugh the whole time.
Yeah.
And then I now have a house in the south of France, right near his place, and he doesn't live that far from here actually either. So we've stayed really good friends.
Yeah. Did you know when you were on that movie that people were gonna not like it?
I had an idea that people wouldn't like it when I read the script. Sure. But at that point in my career, I couldn't be too choosy.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculously star-studded cast.
Yeah.
I mean, it was insane. It was a who's who of Hollywood.
And you got to meet Eric Idle, which I'm sure at that point is like very exciting for you.
Oh, yeah. As I said, I've been Monty Python been by far the biggest influence comedically on me in my life. So I was very excited about that.
Have you met any of the other guys?
I think I've met them all except the one that people compare me most to is Palin.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I've met Cleese 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Actually did a reading with Cleese recently. Terry I met. Graham died, I think, before I met him. I went to his memorial.
Oh, wow.
Here, they have one. Gilliam I haven't met.
Okay.
No, I don't think I met Gilliam. So probably half the Pythons
Yeah.
in that case.
Yeah. This shot is so funny. Just him in the coffin.
Yeah.
Are there rules when you're shooting in a church?
I don't think so.
No? Because like Chris in the last shot says fuck off or fuck, something.
Nah.
And you wonder if the church is like, we don't know if we want that or not.
Well, I think it's by the time they find out it's too late.
I guess it's improvised too. So there's,
We done a baby. We done a baby. That's so Tom.
Oh, I guess they didn't have the footage of you, the old footage of your character in the mascot outfit.
I don't remember. Did we miss it?
I don't think we saw it.
Yeah. I think there was something shot.
Yeah.
But I don't think it ended up in the film. It's like you don't need it. I'm not mental. He always loved it more than I. So there's no footage of me doing it at the age of whatever I was.
I guess not. Yeah.
I thought there was, but maybe there wasn't. I think by that stage we've kind of, you have to kind of.
We're wrapping up,
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I know that in the script we had some sad that he was like just really slow and sort of we must have shot it because I remember I've got it, maybe it's just in the image in my head of when we wrote it. I remember him doing a tiny little routine and then having to like put his hand on his knees. Sure. The hedgehog was like completely out of breath after just doing a couple of steps. And we either shot it and it didn't end up in the movie, or I've still got it in my head from when we thought about it.
So they must all know, obviously, where their characters end up at the end of the movie. Like that's part of the outline.
All this is,
Do you think that helps them?
Yeah.
Just knowing, like, I'm going to end up a monk. I'm going to end up, we've got a baby, all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, that gives you an arc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now our engineer's got digestive issues.
What a mess.
So I'm actually dreading going in that bathroom.
Yeah,
now.
Be careful. Be careful.
It's like...
Yeah, you open all the windows? We're good? Okay, getting thumbs up.
Good man. Listen, I like that.
Digestive issues?
No, well, they always make me laugh.
Yeah.
But they like that you just went, it's like... when I look at movies now, I haven't been to a movie in the movie theater for years. Yeah. Partly because I have to look at it and go, well, that's a 2p movie. Sure. Anything Scorsese does is a 3p movie at my age. So I just watch all the screeners and then I just stop it and go for a pee and start it again.
Oh, wait. I want to talk to you about the Blood Simple commentary.
Oh, yeah. This is the only other...
I just thought about that.
Commentary I've ever done for a movie, and a movie I had nothing to do with.
Yes. So they came to you. They're putting out a director's cut of Blood Simple. This is, I don't know, 20 years ago maybe?
I love it. Was Fuck It the last line? I think it was the last line of the movie,
and they want you to do a commentary as a fake character.
It was... now the movie's ended, we
did it.
Yeah. I got a call, and I can't remember where I was, but I got a call, and it was a number I didn't recognize, and I said, "Is this Jim?" I said, "Yeah, this is Ethan Cohen." And I was like, "Who's doing this? Which of the people?" I love actually. Sorry,
I do too.
The way we did the credits, it was very clever. And anyway, after he'd convinced me he was, I didn't have him produce ID or anything on the phone. He said, "Oh yeah, you were recommended to me. Set up. We have a mutual friend, Danny Frankton. Danny makes guitars for celebrities." And he said, "I was talking to him about I want to. My brother and I hate doing these commentaries.
Yeah,
and we wanted to create a fictitious character to do it for us." and he's Kenneth Loring. He's Forever Young Films, and I've written this long, monologue essentially. And I told Danny, I said, I'm looking for someone like that guy in Best in Show. And Danny said, well, I actually know that guy in Best in Show, and I've got his number. So he called me, and I was like, took me all of 10 seconds. He said, I'm afraid there's not much money.
Yeah.
And then he mentioned the amount, and I went, it's more than I would have, way more than I would have expected. Yeah. He said, I think I can get it up a bit from, I guess it was Universal, whatever. Yeah. And I said, great, and I'll give you 10% and whatever. So he got like a fee for me, which was fantastic. I would have done it for free.
Sure.
And so we spent 2 days in a studio down in Santa Monica, recording this insane monologue.
Yeah.
For the director's cut of Blood Simple, and there was obvious jokes in it, but it's all completely fictitious.
That's amazing.
It's like the speech I gave at the wedding, where nothing about it, and then I lose my shit during it.
Yeah.
I become this bitter, angry guy who, and the film, as we did today, gets completely ignored. It becomes irrelevant.
Yes.
So I start out by saying, well, we shot this upside down, and then we reversed it, and that's an animatronic dog, when obviously it's clearly a real dog.
Of course.
Yeah. And that's not real sweat. That's the sweat of, I can't remember, albino or something. We just made up all this crap. But he'd scripted the whole thing. I read this. And I think he sent me the script when I was on holiday. And I read this on the beach somewhere. I went, this is absolutely fucking insane.
Yeah.
And brilliant.
Yeah.
And who would think to do that?
It's so funny. It's such a good idea.
And then, the secret was that I wasn't supposed to tell anyone I'd done it. So cut to about 2 years later. And I'm at a party somewhere, and the two of them, I'd never met Joel, and the two of them come literally bounding up to me, beaming, saying, Jim, gotta tell you, we got a letter from someone. They rented the film, the director's cut. They were in the Bahamas or somewhere on holiday, and they wanted to watch it, and they were so excited. And then they said they wrote this letter complaining to the studio and to us, saying some asshole has clearly done a bootleg version. This asshole Kenneth Loring has put his name in. He knows nothing about film. It's desecrated your movie. And they said it was exactly the response we wanted. We were so happy.
Amazing.
That made it all worth it for them.
That's so great.
So they were thrilled.
Did he let you improvise at all, or was it all on the page?
No, it was all on the page.
Yeah.
I may have improvised the odd word or line.
Course.
Or actually, because I was playing a Brit.
Yeah.
I'm sure that I.
Just your computer decided to log you out.
I'm sure that I changed a few words here and there just to make them more British.
Sure.
But he had it. He had the voice down.
Amazing.
Pardon me. Cough and a burp. At least I haven't farted during this session.
I mean, there's still time. We're wrapping it up right now, but you've got a few seconds left.
No.
Thank you so much for doing this. This
my
was so
pleasure.
fun.
It was fun to do. We talked a tiny bit about Mascots.
That's great. That's what
good to have
we're
a
here
good
for.
chat.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. A fun movie.
That episode, this whole episode has been a big bag of who gives a shit.
Brian.
No, the movie is great. I have not listened to your commentary with him yet. I'm sure it's great. Yeah. I just really would have liked to have gone to this one. And by the way, Chris Guest did another one of these. He did Spinal Tap with Rob Reiner wrote or directed it, but they're not. True. They're kind of trying, right? They're kind of kids. I'm so sad that you said that they might not do these anymore.
There's not a lot of them that are in that movie though. There's like 2 or 3. Jim says in the episode. I think he says Don Lake is in it, and there's a few other people, but not that many.
Oh man.
So.
Do you know that I did one of these movies right before I left for California? I did it in New Jersey. My friend did a mockumentary about an improv group, and I was the director of the movie. So, but I wasn't.
Oh wow!
Obviously, my friend was the director of the movie, but I played the director, and it's great. It's really funny. It's called Scene In. Find it. Try to find it. It's very good.
Can people watch it?
I don't know. I don't know what happened after that, but that one of the leads in the movie is Bart Nickerson, who is the creator with his wife of Yellow Jackets.
Oh, yeah.
And he's so funny in the movie. And Rich Monahan is in it, and he is one of the writers on Yellow Jackets. It is very much not like Yellow Jackets, but it's great. Jess Lane is in it a lot. Matt Kapczynski from Big Helium Dog
Jess Lane
in it a lot. Well, yeah. Matt and Jess they got a kiss in it.
Wow. I'm going to tell Jess Lane we talked about her.
Okay, good.
We got to get you on Yellow Jackets, Brian.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing missing from my life right now is I'm not on Yellow Jackets. I have friends on Yellow Jackets, friends that make Yellow Jackets.
Would you want to be eaten?
No, I hate that. I have a very good friend who's on the show now, and I am so nervous while watching it because I don't want to see her I don't want to see her get hurt, even if it's fake. I certainly don't want to see like a head. I don't want to see her I don't want to see her get eaten. I don't want to get eaten on anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to have a death scene. I'm scared of death. And I don't want to get eaten, Patrick. Why did you open this can of worms? I don't want to get eaten.
Brian, if you had to dress up in a mascot costume, what would you dress up as? And not in a furry way, like a I'm here for a sports team way.
I love the Philly Fanatic. I always have. I would like to do something Philly Fanatic related. I just think he's very funny. I like his funny mouth is awesome. What about you?
Do you know who created that costume?
Of course. No, who did it? No, who did it?
We talked about it in this episode. Actually, we talked about Philly Fanatic. Bonnie Erickson and her husband. Bonnie is the builder for Miss Piggy and for a whole bunch of Muppets. And the Fanatics, or the Phillies, the Phillies a few years ago tried to change the costume slightly to get out of the contract with Bonnie and her husband because they've been paying them for 40 years or whatever.
Right.
And they didn't change it enough, and Bonnie and her husband took them to court, and they won.
Oh, my God, that's great. Oh, good for them,
Yeah.
right? Well, man, why would you change something you love just because people love just because they have to pay money for it? Like, that's it. Oh, that's terrible. By the way, when I went to a Phillies game with my dad and a bunch of his coworkers, I believe including his boss, I was very young and I kept asking my dad, can I get a Philly Fanatic doll or puppet so I could bring it home and put it with the Muppets so I could play with it?
Yeah.
And he said no. And the whole game I asked him for the Philly Fanatic doll and or puppet, and he said no. And I think his coworkers did not like me, and I think my dad was real annoyed that he brought me. And even the Philly Fanatic came out and was hilarious, and I even tried to be like, look how funny he is. Man, we should really, to support him, we should go get him. I got over it. By the way, I could buy myself one now, and I have not. So maybe my dad was right. I didn't really want it.
Do you think there's a chance that you will at some point?
No. Unless Henry wants one and my kid wants one, I'd get him one. For sure. Yeah. And fans, please don't send me Philly Fanatic stuffies. I don't want them. I just don't. I've moved on. I don't want stuffed animals. Hey, great episode, Patrick, even though I wasn't in it.
Thank you. I'm sorry you weren't there. I hope that doesn't happen again.
Well, this is the last one so far that we've recorded that I wasn't there for.
That's true.
So, nonstop Brian coming at you.
Do you think there's a chance?
Yeah, I mean, someday I'm going to be too busy for this, right?
Yeah, probably.
I'm a shooting star, man. Yeah, you can't keep me down. You can only hope to get near me.
That is true.
And survive the experience.
Yeah. Or not survive.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Be sure to review and leave an actual review on Apple Podcasts. Go and write something. Even if you don't like it, give it 5 stars and say, hey, these guys are great. Whatever you want, you know? And also, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/commentary, where you can get a whole bunch of bonus stuff and find out who's coming on ahead of time and leave questions that we'll ask them. And you can watch the movie synced up with the commentary. You can watch the movie ahead of time with me while I'm watching to prepare for the show. If you sign up at the right tier, I will watch your favorite movie with you, and we can do a commentary, and we'll release it on Patreon. Truly, whatever you want. Very, very cool stuff on there. Anyways, Brian, it was so good talking to you as always. It's always a pleasure and a delight.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess you too. I was not invited to this recording for Mascots. I found out about it halfway through you were recording. You're like, oh, by the way, episode today going very well. And I was like, oh man, I wish I had known before.
You sound like everyone who got the iPhone 7. I guess you too.
Oh, that was good. That was really good. That was
I don't know if it was topical.
Yeah.
Topical?
Hey guys, thanks for listening. This was the best.
It was the best. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Hey That's Me, a commentary podcast. This has been a That Was Just So Funny production. Your hosts have been Brian Lynch and Patrick Hotner. Music was by Alex Peabody, and our art was by Abigail Noy. You can find out more about the show by going to heythat'smepod.com and checking out our Patreon at patreon.com/commentary. The show was recorded by Stephen Ray Morris. If you've enjoyed the show, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Please tell your friends about this show.